Welcome to BizTech's SME show. Over the next year, we're going to be featuring SMEs, both micro and large, sharing their entrepreneurial journeys and also imparting the lessons that they have learned during the time so that you can learn and do better. Now, today's featured company is DSF.my, an automotive portal. And here to share his experiences is the founder of DSF.my, Daniel Fernandez. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Brian, and thank you for having me. Just curious, you're also Fernandez, huh?
Yes.
Same spelling.
Same spelling as well. It's not with an S.
We might be related now, Daniel, somehow.
I think all Fernandezes or all Gomezes or all Tans are somehow related.
Yes.
But Daniel, let me ask you, before we ask you about your business, what did you do before you became an entrepreneur?
Well, I would say I worked for somebody a long time ago. I was in road construction many years ago, so I know about the pothole issues. I know how to solve it. But that was about almost 30 odd years ago. Then I did a bit of marine engineering. I worked with a marine engineering company. It was a fantastic job. I had a fantastic management team, fantastic bosses. But of course, the last economic downturn, 1997, 1998, the business had to close. I was unemployed, and then I got the opportunity to do something that I was passionate about, which is automotive. I always loved cars. The opportunity came to be a writer for Asian Auto magazine.
Okay.
So I was with Asian Auto magazine for many years, but as a contractor. My agreement with the owners, who was a big public listed company, was I will do the magazine, I will produce it every month, I will deliver it to the bookshops, but I will do it as a contractor.
Okay.
So I worked from home. So I've been working from home for more than 20 years.
Very interesting. And if I remember correctly, the public listed company had actually had a .com during the Asian Auto was previously a .com.
Yes.
And then with the .com implosion, they actually shut it down and then kept the magazine going.
Correct. They had about a year and a half of the .com going. They were basically the first automotive .com in Malaysia, but sadly they were just way ahead of their time. And after that, they never trusted the .com again. So when I was doing the print publication, of course, over the years we were number one. We were doing very well, and then of course the British magazines came in and they were subcontracted out to various publishers here. But we still kept ourselves very fresh and refreshed. We were making money. I had a whole bunch of contributors working with me. So it was just not me doing the content, a huge team, but they were all paid as they produce articles. So it was very easy for me to keep costs down, and we didn't have an office, we didn't have a fancy setup. Now, as the years progressed, about 12 years ago, I was sitting with a very, very good friend of mine, and he's a real techie. And he said, why didn't you set up a website? Websites were already starting to come up slowly. And I said, I'm not a techie. I don't understand this website concept. I don't understand how to do content on the web. I don't know how to make money out of it. I don't know how to make it into a business. So he told me, he said, first thing, set up your website. So that same night we were having dinner. I came home, took my laptop, went back to his house. He sat down. 2 hours later, DSF.my was born.
Really? So you bought the domain? But you hadn't set up a website yet, of course.
Yes. He did everything for me. Over the next few days, I sat with him and he helped me put up together a simple, one of those free platforms, and we put up DSF.my, and it ran like that for a year. And the first year was very difficult because I was still doing Asian Auto. And at that time, I was also supplying written content, automotive written content, to 7 other publications in Malaysia.
So you were content syndicating, and that was your primary revenue stream.
Yes.
That would have been a very lucrative revenue stream then.
I did very well. My name was everywhere in terms of, and most of them were newspapers, business publications, daily newspapers. I won't mention the names, but even some magazines were taking content from me. So that ran, and then by the second year of DSF.my, I noticed that traffic was starting to build up. I didn't know how to do internet marketing and everything else. But I realized that, others were also getting more popular. So what I did was I moved my whole platform into a proper website. I got myself an IT guy, a full-time IT guy. And then DSF.my proper was was going, But at the
Okay.
same time, I was still doing Asian Auto publication, and I was still providing content to certain publications. But as the years progressed, print was slow death. So with the slow death came loss of revenue, loss of accounts, and so Asian Auto slowly faded away. But DSF.my started climbing, started getting
Now,
popular.
how did you grow the traffic? I think one of the challenges that a lot of people have and online companies is growing traffic. And
Okay.
you've managed to do that without a lot of marketing.
Right. Okay. I don't
How
use
did you do
Facebook
this?
marketing. I don't use
Okay.
Google AdWords. I mean, you can, nowadays they've got people who can check the background of a website. I just use content.
So yours is pure organic growth.
Pure organic growth, pure organic content. You see, for example, if your company now, BizTech now sends me a press release saying that Brian Fernandez has just grown BizTech, blah, 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 and you want me to run it on my platform, I will not take your press release. I will read your press release. I will dissect it, edit it, rewrite it, take the key points and present it in a different format for people to read it. Maybe simpler, maybe more concise, but I will take out some information which is I might deem as fluff. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that makes my content very unique. And then with the right values of SEO implanted in the content, my search engine, Google search engine will take my article and put it right up there.
Okay, so essentially, so that's fantastic, because one of the big differences compared to other sites, and whether it's automotive, whether it's other online sites, is the fact that you've been able to grow organically.
Yes.
The other thing that also impressed me over the years is the fact that unlike other automotive sites, you've actually had some hard-hitting articles. You've actually called out some unsavory business practices within the industry.
Yes.
Some manufacturers have gotten angry with you. Could you elaborate with us some of those things that you've done over the years?
Okay.
And that speaks to your journalistic integrity, of course.
Right.
But please highlight this to us.
I wouldn't like to say the word journalistic integrity. It's just that I believe that Malaysians need to know the truth. I want to know the truth. I mean, even when I read the newspaper today, half of it, I can't believe it. If I watch a news report on even one of the big news channels, I don't believe it. I absorb it, but I don't believe it, because I know everything is done for a purpose. Everybody has got some control somewhere or another for news channels. You can talk about even, the biggest news channels in the world. They've all got a hidden agenda. Same with our newspapers. And you can't blame them, because why? Over the years, I've had the opportunity of sitting on different occasions with different news editors, online editors. I'm talking about big news portals, big newspapers and all that. And they have shared with me their individual frustrations of not being able to tell the whole truth.
Okay.
So I decided that because I'm a one-man show, I own the business. The DSF.my is basically Daniel Sherman Fernandez, my full name, .my. So it's my business. Okay. So even the people that work for me, the writers that come and work for me, I tell them, where possible, tell the truth. And this is why Malaysia has evolved. You see, Malaysians are getting smarter right now. They can go to a lot of websites. If tomorrow company A releases a press release, 50 websites out there will run the press release. But we will
they will run exactly the same press release.
Now we will run it,
yes.
Or we might not even run it, or we might twist it around and say, does this press release make sense? Okay, so this is why our content is unique. And I teach my guys to do it. Sometimes they waver a little bit, and all of them work from home. So we are always in contact and we're always talking to each other via communication channels. But the most important thing is you must be honest with your content. The readers out there are no longer dumb. They know what's clickbait. They know what you're trying to get traffic. They know when you're trying to create an article which is not true. Yes, sometimes we have done certain articles where we've been caught unaware. Because why? We've been fed slightly wrong information. See, my job as the owner and the managing editor is not to sit in front of a laptop every day. I'm out every day. Even during COVID, I'm out every day as much as possible, trying to meet with social distancing with different heads of car companies, after sales people, service advisors, people who do spare parts, workshop owners, private workshop owners. Because why? You buy a car today. Every new car today is perfect, Brian. You know that. Okay? Every new car is perfect
Fair enough.
for whatever you pay for it. But after the warranty, what happens? So I want to go and see private workshops and ask them, hey, this car came out 6 years ago. Do you have any owners coming to see you? Yes, sir, they're coming to see me, and these are the problems they are facing. And the problems are expensive, and the problems are continuous. You see, when you buy a new car under warranty, a lot of things are hidden and kept away. There are a lot of products that are coming to Malaysia because we are a dumping ground for a lot of automotive products.
Okay, right? Give us an example.
I'll give you an example, plug-in hybrids.
Okay.
Plug-in hybrids make no sense in Malaysia at all. No sense at all. Because the battery cost is too expensive. The cars don't really save that much fuel. When you're charging it, you're still using power from somewhere. Okay. If you want to save the environment, if you really want to have an efficient car, buy an electric car, buy a full electric car. But you see, like the chief minister right now of Penang, he's bought himself a nice S-Class plug-in hybrid. Never mind the cost. Yeah. He's not going to plug it in and drive it around. His driver is going to drive it with the engine running, putting in petrol. He's not really saving fuel. He wants prestige and class. But the plug-in hybrid comes with tax incentives. So because it's got tax incentives, it makes sense to buy it against a normal petrol-driven car. I'm not saying it's wrong for the chief minister to buy it. But if he really wants to make a difference on an island like Penang, get himself a full electric car. Show the public that he wants to save the environment. He wants to save the state some money. He can have a Mercedes on the side, you know what I mean? But his official car should be an electric car. And with that, the consumers in Penang will say, hey, we should buy electric cars also. And then with that, more charging stations will come up. And then it's just a domino effect. But if nobody starts this ball rolling, and you need a person of authority to start the ball rolling. So I'm not saying that these car manufacturers are wrong in bringing this car, but when you get a tax incentive like this from the government, of course they'll jump on it because why? They are in the business of selling cars. They have to sell cars.
Right.
So even like BMW, they're still introducing plug-in hybrids. Their cars, there's nothing wrong with the cars, but with tax incentives, they become so attractive. Can you imagine a BMW X5 plug-in hybrid fully loaded is less than $500,000 ringgit? That's great value for money. A Porsche Taycan pricing is below $1 million ringgit. That's a full electric car. You should be thinking about getting that, but we can't afford it right now. So back to getting people upset. So over the years, sometimes some cars come across as not so good. So we tell the truth. When we tell the truth, a lawyer's letter comes. Car manufacturers don't get too happy with this.
So Daniel, I recall you called out when Volkswagen was having a lot of problems with their Malaysia.
Yes.
Now, did that, and you were one of the only ones that really called a spade a spade. Did it have repercussions on you from an advertising standpoint? Did you lose revenue? Did you get lawyers' letters? What happened?
Of course, everything you just said happened. And probably after this show, they'll send me another lawyer's letter. Okay. But you see, what they don't understand is, look at their business model today. Their dealers are closing down. Their business is not doing very well. Because why? You cannot fool the Malaysian public. A long time ago, Peugeot had the same problem. 7-8 years ago, Peugeot had the same problem. When I called it out, they went on a social media rant and tried to discredit me. They went to everybody, including the radio station that I was working for, to try and get me sacked. And all because of what? I told the truth. And then today, what has happened? Peugeot has moved to a new guardian, which is Burmas. Berjaya Auto Alliance, which is the people who run Mazda also. This is the problem. You see, consumers out there can only take so much. Because why? Malaysians are already paying a lot of money for a car. If you don't give them very good warranty in after sales, on top of paying so much money for a car, you're actually ripping them to shreds. A rich man can have 4 cars in the house, it's fine. But the average person in Malaysia, which is the majority of the population, have 2 cars. One to go to work, one for the wife to go to work. So now if one car is down, how do you send your kids to school? How do you pick up your kids for tuition? How do you send your daughter for ballet? How do you send your son for his guitar class? How do you pick up your daughter from a tuition class? All this comes into play. And then they say, oh, take Grab, take taxi, take this, take ride hailing. Who's paying for it? While your monthly installment still goes. So people we don't have a lemon law in Malaysia.
Yes.
So,
and that's where the used car industry, I think, needs a lemon law to protect the consumer.
Exactly. So till today, some brands will not give me their car to test drive. They will smile at me from a distance, but they will not give me the brand. Now, if you're not giving me your brand to test drive, it's fine. Because why? Your sales are still not going up. Because why? You have lied to the consumer over and over and over and over. Facebook marketing, social media marketing has already written about all your problems, your after sales issues, and your service advisory issues, and your spare part issues. Your cars are not selling. It's not me. I didn't do it. You did it to yourself.
So Daniel, coming back to your business now, so how do you, so obviously some car manufacturers would not support you.
Yes.
Who are your key customers and how do you make money for DSF, as well as you've also spun off two other websites, Auto Matcha and Go Ahead Gostan. Am I correct?
Correct.
Tell us a little bit more about that and how do you monetize these three websites?
Okay. Go Ahead Gostan is purely a Bahasa Malaysia version of DSF.
Okay.
I've got two very good, very competent writers, and they produce the content in Bahasa Malaysia. They don't do a translation. They write out what they feel. They've already been showed how to produce content, unique content. On top of that, they also have some unique content which DSF doesn't have, which caters to a different demographic. Now, Auto Matcha was started 5 years ago purely for fun. After I got numerous legal letters from numerous car companies in that 1 year, I decided to start a website with no advertising at all.
Okay. So who's the target audience for this? No advertising, but who's the target audience for Auto
Target
Matcha?
audience is people who want to read the truth. Complete truth, 100%. There is no advertising banner, nothing on Auto Matcha. There is no paid content, there's no advertorials, nothing. We just take what we see, we like, we think it's interesting, we put it up. If it's a car review, we put it as is. That's why you don't see a lot of car reviews on Auto Matcha, because a lot of car companies are very worried to give us cars because I got a different group doing Auto Matcha. Different group of writers. I also write for Auto Matcha.
How many writers, full-time and freelancers, do you have for all these three sites?
Full-time, I have 5. Part-time, I have 2.
So your primary revenue is advertising?
Advertising on DSF.my.
Okay. And how do you then see yourself? So you've obviously evolved over the years.
Yes.
How do you see yourself monetizing all these websites moving forward? What's your strategy for this? Are you looking to grow this regionally? Are you looking to sell these websites? What's your strategy as a business owner?
Okay, as a business owner, very simple. I started DSF.my purely because I knew that magazine industry was in slow retirement, and I needed something that I could call my own. I needed something I could control. So DSF.my, first couple of years was bad. Third year, it started to get a little bit of money coming in. By the fourth,
but
fifth
Daniel,
year,
how do you sustain? Can I ask you? So you said the first couple of years was tough, and that's always the case with digital businesses in particular. You have to grow traffic. There's no revenue. How did you sustain yourself?
Because I was contributing articles to 7 other publications. Remember?
Okay, so you kept that going. So essentially, it's the classic model of something else feeding this business, feeding you until this business had matured to a point it was making money.
Yes. So by the time it started making a little bit of money, I slowly stopped working for the rest because they were all print. So they were all slowly already going to retirement. So the transition came very nicely across from digital, to print, and print back to digital. So of course, after a while, there was no more contributions going out. I was surviving purely on DSF. But 5 or 6 years ago, DSF just boomed. Okay. Advertising revenue is very good.
How is that? So the 800-pound gorilla in a Malaysian automotive context is paultan.org.
Of course.
How are you in terms of size, in terms of revenue relative to, in terms of traffic and revenue relative to a Paul Tan?
Right. he's number one without a doubt, and he'll remain number one because he's run a very professional business. He started in a very professional way and he's maintained it, but he's grown his business huge. I think he's got maybe more than a dozen writers, and he's got few languages, and he's got a big IT team. He's a big business. I'll give you an example. He's probably 10 times bigger than me.
Okay. In terms of revenue or in terms of traffic or both?
I would say everything.
Okay.
But he is doing everything. He's doing events, he's doing news, he's doing social media, he's got everything. So he's got a big business. Mine is a very small business. I'm just producing content for DSF and Go Ahead Gostan. Auto Matcha is just something like, to relieve my frustration in the industry sometimes.
Okay. So, and this is a very good lesson then, because again, what you seem to be doing is you are not looking to get VC money, I take it. You're not looking to expand to various markets.
No.
You're running this business. You have identified your niche. You survive alongside an 800-pound gorilla that's more than 10 times your size.
Yes.
And you are profitably moving along.
Very profitably moving along. I have no issues.
Right?
I have no debts. My staff, even during COVID, all my staff have gotten full salaries and benefits. Even their moving around claims, their petrol claims, their toll charges are all paid, even during the last 10 months. Why? Because previously I made a lot of money. I believe that I should continue taking care of them when I'm not making money. So
okay, that's really good.
Yes. So, you can ask them. You can meet my staff. You can talk to them. You can ask them. Now, the last 10 months has been very difficult. But I've managed, because I've had savings, I've been prudent with my spending, I've been smart with my savings, I've been smart with my other investments outside DSF. I've managed to keep everything going. And also, I'm back to doing what I was doing many years ago, supplying written content to other people.
Okay, so that's interesting. So I think that's an interesting business lesson, because essentially you've gone back to basics and you've gone back to content syndication.
Yes.
Is that business coming up? Do you see that as a business that's coming back overall?
Okay. About 7 or 8 months ago, the first one came along, was a website, news website. They wanted my content. I said, okay. We worked out a financial deal. I started supplying to them. Then about 4 months ago, another one came up, another website, and that I started supplying to them. We agreed on a payment. Just 2 weeks ago, just before Christmas, another news website came to see me, and we are now in discussions about supplying content. So I think that is coming back because during good times, say for example, XYZ.com. XYZ.com will hire, say, 40 people to do content and news and everything else. But then when COVID came, when they went scale down, they had to let people go. The business owner had no money. He couldn't get assistance from anywhere else. He's sitting down there. And then suddenly he realizes he's got to keep his business going. But instead of hiring someone full-time, I get a content provider like myself. I pay less money. I get quality, unique content. And I don't have to worry because at any one time I can switch off the tap and say, Daniel, stop. I don't have to go through
that gives him the flexibility then. And for you, of course, because you're already creating the content, it's about just rehashing the content. Your costs are also low because it's spread across different
but we don't
platforms.
Rehash. We have totally different pictures. It's a totally different angle. For every client, we write it totally different. So if you go and look at all 3 articles or all 4 articles of the same vehicle, it's totally different.
Okay. So can I ask you this? There is a company called in a similar space called Webca, which I understand is, correct me if I'm wrong, is actually a 10-cent investment.
Right.
Is that correct?
Correct.
So they seem to have a very, very large team. How are they sustainable as a business?
Well, I can't comment about somebody else's business when I don't know them. I've never met them. I know that they've taken a big team of writers. They even approached one of my writers.
They have about 20 people, am I correct?
I think so.
Yeah.
They got a big fancy office. They got very, They offered my staff double of what he was earning with me. And I asked him, why don't you go? He said, I don't want to go there because I know with you, I have a long-term stability. This money that comes from China could just shut down tomorrow. The objective of this website is just to become number one and dethrone paultan.org.
Okay.
Now, I think...
Is that happening though? Are they getting traction? Because I read them.
Yeah, I mean, they got some good articles. I don't read them. I don't read anybody's article except my own. I'm just very selfish about that. I don't think I should read anybody's articles because I'm already producing my own.
Right.
But from what I've heard, a lot of people like their articles, but the objective of trying to be number one just because you want to dethrone someone, I think is wrong. In this, in this economic space right now, we should all learn to work together, work in harmony. Yes, we can have a competitive edge over each other, but why must you hit to be number one? Does it mean you earn more money? No. It's just bragging rights. So you can beat your chest and walk around and say, I'm number one. But being number one means you have to stay number one. And trying to stay number one is so much more difficult than trying to stay number 10, like what I'm doing. And being number 10, I'm profitable, I'm happy, I have very little stress. My guys are not stressed out. You can call any of my guys any time of the day. They'll go out and have a coffee or watch a movie because why? I don't put them under lockdown for 10 hours to keep churning out content like crazy. Because we churn out. We don't need to churn out 10 articles a day. We just need to churn out good articles a day.
Now, Daniel, on that note, what are the business lessons? This final question for you. What are the business lessons that you can share with our audience in terms of your entrepreneurial journey over the last few years?
Okay, I'm going to say this. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. I'll say this. A couple of years ago, everyone said, go on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel, but it's not active, it's not popular. I just post fun videos, you know? Like when I go for test drive, I just do a quick 3-minute and I do it. I don't promote it or do anything like that. Now everyone is saying go video. Now everybody has gone video. There are people who don't know anything about cars who have gone video. There are people who used to work for other websites who just suddenly said, I've got a camera phone, I'm going to go video. So there are so many YouTubes out there. It's not bad, but I'm very happy that everybody has gone to video and I've not gone to, because you know why? People have forgotten to do good quality written content.
I see. Interesting.
So yes, the business has to evolve to YouTube and video, but not everybody wants to watch a video all the time, because I can share content. I can share my traffic. My traffic is never dropping. It's constantly going up. My unique visitors are constantly going up, not by big margins, but every time it's going up. Because why? People still want to read. People still want to look at something honest. If you watch all the videos out there, are any of them honest? That's all I have.
Daniel, thank you very much for taking the time to be on the show. We've been speaking to Daniel Fernandez. He's the founder of DSF.my on BizTech's SME show. I'm Brian Fernandez. Check out www.biztech.asia for business and technology conversations.